Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your kind association. Let's get started. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, we are currently studying chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. Today we will be finishing it. Last time we discussed till verse number 28, and there are 30 verses in chapter 7. So we will complete chapter 7 today by reading the last two verses, verse 29 and 30, and then we'll do an overview of chapter 7 so that next time we can start with chapter 8. Hare Krishna. So Lord Krishna is instructing Arjun about the absolute. Absolute means the Supreme Lord. This 7th chapter is entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. And in the previous verse, verse 28, we saw how Lord Krishna explained that one who is sinless, one who is not committing any sins, is able to engage in Krishna Bhakti nicely. If we want to engage in Krishna Bhakti, then we must stop committing sins. Yesham tvantagatam papam janana punya karmana te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridha vrata. Lord Krishna said that if one wants to perform bhajan, Krishna Bhakti, one has to become sinless. One has to stop sinning. Now let's see what Krishna says in verse 29. Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatanti ye te brahma tat vidhu kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatantiye. Very simple. Jara marana mokshaya. One who wants to be free from jara means old age, and marana means death. Anybody who wants to be free from death and old age, mam ashritya yatantite. They take shelter of me. They try to take shelter of me. Yatanti means they do yatan. They endeavor. They try to take shelter of Krishna. We may not be Krishna ashrit. We may not be able to take complete shelter of Krishna, but at least we should try to take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is saying. And what happens to someone who tries to take shelter of Krishna? They actually, te brahma tad vidhu krishnam. They actually attain spiritual status. And they come to know everything about the transcendental activities. Adhyatmam karma chakhilam. They come to know about the whole realm of what is actually spiritual activity. In this material world, my dear friends, we are all engaged right now in material activities. But if we take shelter of Krishna, our life will become spiritual. Krishna says. Adhyatmam. Srila Prabhupada in the purport explains that birth, old age, disease, and death happen only to the material body, this material body that we have. But the spiritual body has no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease. Further down in the purport, in the second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada explains that Lord Krishna is saying, only persons who perform activities in Krishna consciousness, Mam Ashritya, are actually entitled to be called Brahman or spiritual, because they are actually endeavoring to reach the planet of Lord Krishna. Na tad bhasyate suryo, na shashanko na pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Lord Krishna says, tad dhama paramam mama. My abode is Param Dham. So if we want to attain Krishna's planet where there is no disease, no death, no old age, and no birth, then we must take shelter of Krishna. We must take shelter of Krishna. Now, in the last verse, text 30, Lord Krishna is saying, Sadhi bhutadhi daivam mam, sadhi yajnam chaye vidhu, prayana kale pichamam te vidur yukta chetasaha. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Prayana kale. Prayana kale means at the time of death. One who is in full consciousness of me. Yukta chetasaha. If we keep our consciousness in Krishna, then even at the time of death, we will be able to remember Krishna. This is Krishna's promise. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, persons acting in Krishna consciousness are never deviated from the path of entirely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna consciousness means to understand Krishna. That is why we read Bhagavad Gītā. That is why we read Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Because we want to understand Krishna. In this material world, people are engrossed in understanding so many things. They want to understand what is cryptocurrency. People want to understand, are we really going in a recession? When will this recession end? What is going to happen to the mortgage rates? People want to understand all these things. And to a certain degree, it may be important to understand these things because we live in this material world. But this is not all in all. These topics should not occupy our minds and our hearts all the time. No, that is not the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is to attain Krishna. And attaining Krishna means to be free from repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, doshanu, darshanam. Srila Prabhupada writes, in the transcendental association of Krishna consciousness, one can understand how the Supreme Lord Krishna is the governing principle of the material manifestation and even of the demigods. Even the Devatas, like Lord Brahma, Shankar Bhagwan, Indra Dev, Surya Dev, Lord Ganapati, Durga Devi, they are all devotees of Krishna. Aham adirhi devanam. In Bhagavad Gītā, Krishna says, I am the origin of all the Devatas. Matah parataram na anyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. There is nothing superior to me. Bahunam janmanamante jnanaman mam prapadate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. To understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, Ishwara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the source of everything. He does not have any other origin. Anadi. And Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. This we must understand. Gradually, by such transcendental association, one becomes convinced that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and at the time of death, such a Krishna conscious person can never forget Krishna. So if we want to remember Krishna at the time of death, which is very important, because whatever we remember at the time of death, that is what we will attain. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajantante kalevaram tam tam evaite kaunteya sadatad bhava bhavita. Whatever state we remember at the time of death, that is what we are going to attain. So we all want to remember Krishna at the time of death. Yes, at the time of death, we want to remember Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna prana mora युगला किशोर जीवने मरणे गति आर नाही मोर. जीवने मरणे गति आर नाही मोर. वृंदावनेश्वरी राधा कृष्णो वृंदावनेश्वरः जीवने निधने नित्यम राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम. Radha Krishna are the ultimate destination for us. So we want to remember Radha and Krishna at the time of death. But the question is, what is the guarantee that at the time of death, we will remember Radha and Krishna? Anta kale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram. Muktva kalevaram. When we are giving up this body, we have to remember Krishna. Ante Narayana Smriti, Śrīmad Bhagavatam says. How do we get Ante Narayana Smriti? At the time of death, how can we remember Radha and Krishna? The answer is given by Srila Prabhupada in this verse. If throughout our life we practice remembering Krishna, if every day we remember Krishna, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, every day we read Śrīmad Bhagavatam, every day we remember Krishna, every day we worship Krishna, every day we eat Krishna Prasad, every day we associate with devotees of Krishna, every day we chant the names of Krishna, then at the time of death we will remember Krishna. Just like a student who studies in the first semester, who studies in the second semester, who studies throughout the year, who attends all the classes, it is guaranteed that such a person will pass the final test, isn't it? It's absolutely guaranteed. Such a student can never fail, because even the teachers are so pleased with the sincere student. The teachers will give all help to make sure that the student is successful. Similarly, when a spiritual student, when a sadhak, we are all spiritual students, when a sadhak is sincere, every day the sadhak chants with attention, every day the sadhak reads Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gītā, every day the sadhak associates with devotees, hears from senior devotees, Hari Katha, worships Krishna, Shri Vigraha Aradhana Nityanana, Shringaratan Mandira Marjanado, Yuktasya Bhaktam Chani Unjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charana Arvindam. The way the spiritual master has engaged the disciple in the service of Radha and Krishna, if a disciple is engaged in that way, then it is the guarantee of Guru and Krishna that such a person will attain Krishna. It is guaranteed. It's like a good student who is guaranteed to pass. Even if the student falters in the exam, the examiner will help. The teacher will help, because throughout the year, the teacher has seen how sincere this student has been. One Guru Maharaj once told his disciple, somebody gifted him a deity, a picture of a deity of Radha and Krishna. He told his disciple, go and keep this picture on my desk in my room. And he gave the key to the room of the Guru. So the disciple faithfully went, opened the room of his Gurudev, and kept that picture on the desk. When he went, Gurudev used to take rest on the floor, on a chadar, on just a plain sheet. And that sheet had been folded and kept on the side. And there was also a broomstick in the room, which the Gurudev used to clean the room himself. And the broomstick was leaning against a wall, but somehow the window was open, the wind probably blew, something happened. The broomstick had fallen on the sheet, the piece of cloth on which Gurudev used to take rest at night. Sadhak went in the room, he kept the picture of the deity on the desk as he had been told. And then he saw that the jhadu has fallen, the broom has fallen on the chadar of the Gurudev. So he didn't like it. So he just picked up that broom and again put it on the wall, leaned it against the wall. And then he came out, locked the door, gave the key to the Gurudev. Next day he got a message. That same night he got a message from Gurudev that for 2 weeks, for 15 days, don't come to do any seva. Don't show me your face. In the morning, every day, Gurudev used to speak Hari Katha. The disciple had permission. You can sit in the back and hear Hari Katha, but no coming close to Gurudev, no speaking to Gurudev, and no doing any seva. He could not understand what mistake he had done. He came in front of his Gurudev and started crying, Gurudev, please forgive me. What mistake have I done? Has there been some discrepancy in my service to you, Gurudev? Without you, I don't have anybody. Please don't reject me like this. No, 15 days, don't come and serve me. 15 days, I cannot live even 15 hours without you, Gurudev. Please, what happened? Gurudev said, you went in the room, in my room? The disciple said, yes, Gurudev. You kept the picture of Radha and Krishna on my desk? Yes, Gurudev, just like you had told me. Did you pick up the broom and put it back against the wall? Yes, Gurudev, because it had fallen on your chadar, the chadar on which you sleep. Gurudev asked him, had I told you to do that seva for me? No, Gurudev, you had not told me. Then why did you do it? Why are you extra smart? What you have done is not wrong. The broom had fallen on my chadar, you picked it up. That is good. Your bhav was good, your seva was good, everything was good. This time it was good. But if you continue to use your intelligence like this, and you continue to act extra smart, and use your own brains more than what Gurudev has told, it is possible that in the future, you will act extra smart and you will do something that is wrong. This time what you did is not wrong, but in the future you may do something wrong. I want to teach you a principle. If Gurudev says, go and keep the picture of Radha and Krishna on the desk and come out, just do that. Don't do things which you have not been told to do. I want to teach you this principle. That's why I'm punishing you. Now go. You can come back after 2 weeks. 2 weeks, the disciple was burning in separation from his Gurudev, feeling so much remorse. My seva has gone. I cannot serve Gurudev. I cannot get his jhutan. I cannot get his Mahaprasad. I cannot wash his clothes. I cannot massage his lotus feet. What is this? He was feeling very sad. But after 15 days, he was taken back into service. Now contrast this with Hanumanji. Hanumanji is a das of Lord Ram. Manojavam marutatulya vegam jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtham vatatmajam vanarayuta mukhyam Śrīrāmadutam sharanam prapadde. He's Ramdut, he's Ramdas, Hanumanji. He's Ram Sevak. He was told to go and find Mother Sita and give Lord Ramchandra's message to Mother Sita and come back and report. He was not told to fight. He was not told to kill the son of Ravan, Akshay Kumar. He was not told to burn Lanka. Hanumanji did all that extra seva. But for that, he got a very beautiful alingan, loving embrace from Sri Ram. He got a loving embrace from Sri Ram for doing extra. Why? Because Hanumanji is a topmost servant. He is the parakashtha, the zenith of dasyatva, dasya bhav. But we have not attained that sthiti yet. We have not reached that level yet. So for us to be punished for doing extra work is necessary. Otherwise, we will become egoistic. We will think, manmani acharan kar sakte hai. We can do what we want. We can act independently. We can think independently. No. In sadhak avastha, when we are a student, spiritual student, we need to be disciplined. But when we attain a state like Hanumanji, then we can use our own brains. Then if we pick up the broom and keep it, our master will not object. It will be very pleasing. Because we have attained that state where we have nothing other than seva. So we are first-class servants in that sthiti, in that state. But until then, we have to be under the guidance of Gurudev. And if we are under the guidance of Gurudev, then it is the guarantee of Gurudev that we will attain the lotus feet of Krishna. It is guarantee of Gurudev. When this disciple told Gurudev that from today, abhi kaan pakad liya, from today, I will do just what you have told me. I will do exactly what you have told me. I will not overstep my boundaries. Promise. Promise. Gurudev said, then I also give you a promise that you will attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna in this lifetime. This is the reciprocation between a disciple and a guru. Reciprocation between a disciple and a Krishna. Even if we are not able to remember Krishna at the time of that, Krishna will remember us. When Ajamil called his son Narayan, the Narayan Dutas came there. The Vishnu Dutas appeared there. Yamdutas said, "Why have you come?" Ajamil did not call your master. He did not call Lord Narayan. He called his son Narayan. "Why have you come?" The Vishnu Dutas replied that we were sent by Lord Narayan. Because Ajamil chanted the name of our master. He chanted the name of Narayan. So even though Ajamil was not thinking of Narayan, but because he called out the name of Narayan, Lord Narayan started thinking about Ajamil. Lord Narayan started looking at Ajamil. Oh, he's calling my name. And he sent us, go and bring him. Save him from the Yamdutas. He's dying. He called my name. Even though he was calling the son, because originally it is the name of the Lord. Ajamil's son was named Narayan only 8 years ago. He was an 8-year-old boy. But it is the eternal name of Lord Narayan. That boy was named Narayan after Lord Narayan. So originally it is the name of Lord Narayan. Like that also. Once a person went to Barsana. There was a wedding there. And he was not a devotee. He was coming from Delhi. He was with his wife. And in the crowd, his wife got lost. In those days, there were no cell phones. He was searching everywhere for his wife, calling, "Kishori, Kishori." Everywhere in Barsana, he was roaming around in the crowd. "Kishori, Kishori." His wife's name was Kishori. And Srimati Radharani heard that he's calling out Kishori, Kishori. Radharani asked Lalita Sakhi, "Hey Sakhi, who is calling out my name with such desperation, such eagerness? Who is this? Which devotee is this?" Lalita Sakhi said, "This is koi devotee nahi hai. This is not some devotee of yours. This is just a visitor who has come to attend a marriage ceremony. In the crowd, he has lost his wife and is calling out, 'Kishori, Kishori.'" Radharani told Lalita Sakhi that, yeah, his wife's name is Kishori, but she's named after me. Originally, my name is Kishori. So he's calling my name and he's crying and he's vyakul. He's desperate. In my dham, how can anyone cry in my dham, cry out my name and not attain me? Lalita, go and bring that devotee here. I will give him darshan. And that fellow, he is just shouting, "Kishori, Kishori." And suddenly he had darshan of Lalita, Vishakha, and Srimati Radharani. Became a high-class sadhu in Vrindavan. Never left Barsana for the rest of his life. Became a pure devotee. So the mercy of Krishna is unlimited. Bhagwan ki kripa baras rahi hai. Krishna is continuously showering his mercy. Radharani is continuously showering their mercy. All we have to do is be receptive. Be receptive. Receive the grace. Receive the mercy in our heart. We have to simply reciprocate with Krishna. We reciprocate with Krishna, Krishna will shower more mercy. More we reciprocate, more mercy. This is the life cycle of a devotee. Krishna reciprocates, the devotee reciprocates. Krishna reciprocates more, the devotee reciprocates more. Krishna reciprocates even more. This transcendental competition between Krishna and the bhakta goes on eternally. Eternally. Because bhakti means a loving relationship. It's a relationship of love. So here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that if all our life we practice remembering Krishna, chanting Krishna Nam, serving the devotees of Krishna, hearing Krishna Katha, speaking Krishna Varta, doing seva of Krishna in the form of Shri Vigraha, it is guaranteed at the time of death, whether we die in an accident, whether we die in a plane crash, whether we die in a terrorist attack, whether we suddenly die of a stroke or a heart attack, or we die in the ICU in a coma, it doesn't matter. It is Krishna's promise that Krishna will be there at the time of our death. Here it is said, Prayana Kale. Prayana Kale, at time of death, we will be able to remember Krishna. Why? Because remembrance is given by Krishna. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kridvedavid eva chaham. Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, verse number 15. Lord Krishna is saying, Matah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From Krishna comes remembrance. Smriti means remembrance. From Krishna comes knowledge. And from Krishna comes apohanam, forgetfulness. Krishna gives forgetfulness, Krishna gives remembrance, and Krishna gives knowledge. Will Krishna cheat his devotee? Absolutely not. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Name bhakta pranashyati. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. This is the pratigya. This is the promise of Krishna. My devotee will not perish. How is there any example in the recorded history, in the itihasas, in the Puranas, anywhere, any example where Achyut, the infallible Lord, failed to take his devotee to Vaikuntha at the time of death? Krishna failed. It can never happen. Raise your hand if you can think of any. There is no example like this where Krishna's devotee failed. Impossible. Krishna's devotee never fails. If you think of Jai Vijay, the Dwarpal of Vaikuntha, they fell in this material world. They made a mistake. They did Vaishnava Aparadha against the four Kumar brothers. And they fell down as demons 3 times. That was not a fall down. In Śrīmad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, Lord Narayan himself says, this is my Leela. I want to go. I want to incarnate as Narsimhadev, as Varahadev, as Sri Ramachandra, as Krishna. And I want to enjoy Virya Ras, the rasa of fighting. But there is no one capable of fighting with me. So I want to employ my own devotees to fight with me. So that's why they will come. And then they will come back to Vaikuntha. That was not a fall down. That was Leela. If we think of Bharat Maharaj, that Bharat Maharaj was a great devotee and Bharat Maharaj fell down, that is not a fall down, my dear friends. Bharat Maharaj never fell down. Externally, it appears like that he got a body of a deer. Even in the body of a deer, his bhajan was going on. He observed brahmacharya as a deer, never associated with a she deer, with a doe. Never. We as human beings cannot observe brahmacharya. But Bharat Maharaj, when he became a deer, he was a Naishtik brahmachari as a deer. Never ate any grass. Only ate the uchishta, the remnants of the sadhus living in the Himalayas. They would eat and they would throw their leaf plate, and that is all this deer ate all his life. Because Purva Janma Samskar, he had impressions from his previous life, devotional impressions. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Little advancement we do in Krishna consciousness, it is never lost. Because Krishna consciousness is bhakti. Bhakti is Radharani. How can Radharani be destroyed? Never. Bhakti is Radha Shakti. It is the energy of Srimati Radharani. She gives bhakti. She gives prem. How can that be destroyed? Any devotional activity we do can never be destroyed. Even if we do the worst Vaishnava Aparadha, worst sin, Mahapatak, Maha Vaishnava Aparadha we commit, still bhakti cannot be destroyed. It will get covered up. We will lose access to our bhakti shakti, but it will not be destroyed. Once that Vaishnava Aparadha is nullified, either through suffering or through genuine repentance and begging forgiveness and doing Vaishnava Seva, that bhakti will again come back. Just where we left it, will again start. Bhakti can never be destroyed. So therefore, the path of Krishna consciousness is a very safe, very joyful process. Bhakti. Bhakti is the best process. Bhaktya tushyati kevalam nacha gunaya bhakti priyo madhav. Bhakti is the only thing that pleases Krishna. So here, Srila Prabhupada is promising us, naturally, he is thus promoted to the planet of the Supreme Lord, Golok Vrindavan, if we remember Krishna at the time of death. This 7th chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. One of you can, Aparna, just chant Hare Krishna, please. 1 second.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. This 7th chapter particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. The beginning of Krishna consciousness, I'm reading the 2nd paragraph of the purport, verse 30. The beginning of Krishna consciousness is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada is writing. Our Krishna consciousness depends on associating with devotees of Krishna. This is paramount. This is very, very important, my dear friends. The importance of associating with sincere devotees cannot be overemphasized. Our bhakti completely depends on the association of devotees. It's not possible to sustain in this Kali Yuga without devotee association, without Vaishnava Sangha. Very, very important. Devotees give us guidance. Devotees give us inspiration. Devotees give us support when we are down and out. So we need each other, really. We cannot tread this path alone. Bhakti is teamwork. It is teamwork. So Srila Prabhupada says bhakti begins by associating with persons who are Krishna conscious. Ādau Shraddha tata sadhu sangha. Then bhajana kriya. Then anartha nivritti. We have discussed these stages. First, there is little bit faith in the process of bhakti. Then comes sadhu sangha, associating with devotees. By associating with devotees, we get the method of bhajan. Bhajana kriya means chanting 16 rounds every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chanting. This chanting begins when we come in the association of devotees. Devotees give us that inspiration. Devotees give us the inspiration to engage in puja seva of the deity of Krishna, Shri Vigraha seva. In the association of devotees, we can sing and do Nam Sankirtan. We can sing and dance in Nagar Sankirtan. In the association of devotees, it is so much fun to read Bhagavad Gītā, Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So at every step, we see bhakti is that path where we need association of devotees. In other paths, like Jnana Yoga, there is no association required. You sit and you do Swadhyaya, you study the books. In Dhyana Yoga, association is absolutely not required. You have to go in a solitary place and do meditation alone. You cannot come together. And the sadhus used to go alone, sit in a cave, sit under a tree and do bhajan, alone meditation. That is Dhyana Yoga. It is only in Bhakti Yoga where it is about relationships. It is about friendship. It's about helping each other, being there for each other. When we are down and out, other devotees lift us up. When they need us, they are down and out, then we give them a helping hand. In bhakti, we go together. We hold each other's hands and we go together, progress together. It's a very unique path in bhakti. You see, In the path of Karma Kand, there are so many examples where devotees become envious of each other. Somebody is performing tapasya, getting power through Karma Kand, different puja, different yajnas, different meditative processes, they are becoming powerful. Then another person will become envious. Indra becomes envious. Why? Because he is on the path of Karma Kand. So therefore, there is envy. But on the path of bhakti, there is no envy. In fact, we want to associate with and serve devotees who are more advanced. On the path of Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, Dhyana Kand, there is envy. Vishwamitra Muni becoming envious of Vasishtha Muni. There are so many examples on the path of austerity, tapasya, dhyan, because we want to be the best. But in Bhakti Yoga, we are not envious of those who are better than us. Rather, we serve. We become subservient to those who are more advanced. Those who are equal to us, we maintain nice friendship with them. And those who are less advanced than us, we uplift them. We help them rise up. These are the three types of exchanges that devotees have. More advanced devotee, Dasosmi, I am your servant, I want to serve you. Equals, we are friends. Let's progress together. Let's inspire each other. Dadati, pratigranati, guiham akhyati prachati, like that. And somebody is less fortunate, less advanced, then we preach to uplift them. So that they can also start chanting, they can also get initiated, they can also start worshipping deity at their home. And then they can also start doing prachar. This is the life cycle of a devotee. Always together, always encouraging each other. Srila Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph, many subjects have been discussed in this chapter, the 7th chapter. What did we discuss? We discussed the man in distress, the inquisitive man, the man in want of material necessities, knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of Paramatma, liberation from birth, death, and disease, worship of the Supreme Lord. However, he who is actually elevated in Krishna consciousness does not care for the different processes. He simply, directly engages himself in activities of Krishna consciousness and thereby factually attains his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Lord Krishna. Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. It is our constitutional nature to be a loving servant of Krishna and Radharani. In such a situation, he takes pleasure in hearing and glorifying the Supreme Lord. Mat chitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantas chamam nityam tuschanti cha ramanti cha. Hare Krishna. In this way, the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is completed. Now let us quickly do a quick overview of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So my dear friends, I hope all of you have your Bhagavad Gita open in front of you. So the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the first of the 6 chapters that deal with Bhakti Yoga. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, essentially, we saw that the nature of the Atma, the nature of the living entity, that the living entity is eternal. It doesn't die when the body dies. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara prapte dhirastatranam huyati. How the body is like a cloth and the soul is like the person wearing the cloth. Vasam jirnani yatha vihaya. So we saw all those fundamental things in the first 6 chapters, the nature of the soul. We saw the different processes of yoga. We saw karma yoga, we saw jnana yoga, and in the 6th chapter we saw dhyana yoga. And we saw in the last verse of dhyana yoga how the greatest yogi nam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana. The greatest yogi is one who with shraddha completely focuses attention on Krishna. That is the greatest of yogi. So the first 6 chapters describe who we are, eternal soul, describes a hint of who Supreme Lord is. He is not like us. He's perfect. He's complete and whole. And we are just his parts and parcels. We are his servants. That is a transcendental knowledge. How this material world is temporary. And there is another world, the spiritual world, where we have to go. So all that was described. And finally, the different processes of yoga were described. And the best process of yoga is to be a devotee of Krishna. So Krishna leaves us there at the end of the 6th chapter. The 7th chapter picks up from there, and 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th are the 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, right in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, which describe in detail Bhakti Yoga, the process of devotional service. Then in the final 6 chapters, there is discussion about the modes of material nature, about the different qualities, demoniac qualities and divine qualities. And ultimately in the 18th chapter, again, Krishna gives the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, that the conclusion of everything is bhakti. Man mana bhavaman bhakto is repeated. And finally, Krishna, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, gives his final verdict that Arjun, much has been said, much has been heard. Now listen to my final conclusion. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Give up everything except sharanagati. There are many dharmas, but the final and ultimate dharma is sharanagati dharma. So Krishna is saying, give up everything that is pratikul to bhakti, that is pratikul to sharanagati. Anything that opposes complete total surrender to Krishna, complete total devotion and dedication to Krishna, give up those things. Just become a pure-hearted devotee. That is where Bhagavad Gita ends. So now let's study the 6 chapters in the middle very carefully, chapter 7 to chapter 12, because they are the heart of Bhagavad Gita, the heartthrob of Bhagavad Gita, bhakti. So 7th chapter begins by glorification of Krishna Jnana, knowledge about Krishna. Because Lord Krishna in the first verse says, Maya asakta manah partha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yatha jnanyasi tachrunu. Tachrunu. Just listen. Please hear what I'm saying. That mad ashraya. You have to practice bhakti yoga by taking complete shelter of me. It talks about sharanagati. And if you do this, then you will understand me in full and you will become free from all doubts. Asamshayam. So the glory of complete knowledge of Krishna is described. Then Lord Krishna says there are 2 things. There is Jnana and there is Vijnana. Jnana is theoretical knowledge and Vijnana is actually realized knowledge. Jnana is like preaching. Yeah, if you want to become a devotee, you have to follow 4 regulative principles. You should not eat meat, you should not intoxicate, etc., etc., etc. And you should chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds every day. This is theoretical knowledge. And this is called Jnana. Vijnana means to actually live that life, actually practice it, actually practicing the 4 regulative principles, living a disciplined life and chanting at least 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. That is called realized knowledge. Someone who is doing it actually knows what they are talking about. They are walking their talk. Walk your talk, as they say. So Krishna says, there is Jnanam teham sa vijnanam idam vakshami asheshata. In detail, I am going to describe to you Krishna. Oh Arjun, Krishna is saying, in detail, I will describe to you this knowledge, both theoretical and practical. How it is and how it is to be, what it is and how it is to be practiced. I will tell you everything. And yad jnatva neha bhuyanya jnatavam avashishyate. By knowing this, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Which means the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is complete. Then in the 3rd verse, Lord Krishna is telling us about the rarity of realized knowledge. That, yeah, theoretically, many things can be understood, but actually someone who understands me, worships me, becomes my devotee is very rare. That is that verse, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yadati siddhaye tadamapi siddhanam kaschid mam veti tatvata. Very rare. A true devotee is very rare. So that is the glory about knowledge and devotion to Krishna. First 3 verses. Verses 4 to 12 gives knowledge of Krishna's different energies. Krishna says that Bhumi, in the 4th verse, Bhumi rapo nalo vayur khammanu buddhirevacha ahankar ityam bhinna prakriti ashtada. That there are these 8 material energies of mind: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. They are bhinna prakriti. They are separated. They are apara prakritis. They are the inferior elements. Then in the 5th verse, Krishna talks about his para prakriti, his spiritual potency. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhime param. That there is a superior energy, and that is the jiva and the spiritual world. There are 3 energies: external energy, there is tatastha shakti, the jivas, and there is the superior energy, internal potency, the spiritual world. Material world, we living entities in the middle, and the spiritual world. So there are 3 energies. The material energy is inferior. The Tatastha Shakti, which is all of us, the Jivas, all the innumerable living souls, living entities, we are in the middle. And Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, is the supreme. And we, being in the middle, have a tendency either to take shelter of material life or to take shelter of spiritual life. Therefore, we are called Tatastha. Tata means the bank. Just like the bank of the ocean. Sometimes the bank of the ocean is hot and dry when there is low tide. When there is high tide, it gets covered with the ocean water. The waves splash, it becomes wet. Wet sand. Dry sand, wet sand. We are like that. We are like particles of sand. Jiva, small little souls. And we are tatastha, we are at the bank. Either we can be dry or we can be wet. That's what Lord Jesus Christ said. Either be hot or cold. If you are lukewarm, I spit you out. So we have to take shelter of the water. We have to take shelter of the spiritual energy, not the material energy. Right now, we are surrounded by this material energy. The rat race. Beg, borrow, steal, but just enjoy, be happy. Earn money and just enjoy with your senses. That is material consciousness. But taking shelter of spiritual consciousness means to get happiness not by engaging in material activities, but by chanting, hearing about Krishna, being with the devotees of Krishna, doing seva, doing service, performing service in the association of devotees. That's where we get our joy. You can pay $15 and watch a movie for 2 hours, or you can come for the satsang free of cost and happily take darshan of Radha and Krishna, happily sing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, various Vaishnava bhajans in Braj Bhasha, in Bengali, in Sanskrit, with nice harmonium, nice mridanga, nice kartal, nice melodious singing, dancing, and feasting, nice, sumptuous, tasty Krishna Prasad. And Krishna Katha, so tasty, so relishable. When we hear nice kathas from Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, such a happy life. And it is free. And it is sustainable. Movies, we get bored. We watch the movie once, twice. It gets boring. When is the next movie releasing? Oh, it's releasing next month. We keep watching the trailers and get frustrated. That is material life, my dear friend. But spiritual life is Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purna Amrita Aswadanam. Every step the joy keeps increasing. Even now, if there is COVID and we cannot meet in person, there is Krishna's arranged for Zoom. Something is better than nothing. Like Srila Prabhupada said, a blind uncle is better than no uncle. So better to have Zoom classes than no class. Once Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was asked that sometimes if we are very tired and we still have our rounds left, can we lie down and chant in the bed? Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj replied, the worst round that you chant, the sleepy round when you're chanting and the tulsi mala slips from your hand and you're fishing for it in the bead bag. The most sleepy, distracted round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra that you chant, Tamal Krishna Goswami said, the worst round you chant is millions of times better than the round that you did not chant. So in essence, better to chant with bad quality than to not chant at all. Because anyway you chant, even if it is Nama Prad or Nama Bhas, you're still getting benefit. Still getting benefit. Just keep chanting. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi, Mangalebhyopi Mangalam, Pavanam Pavanebhyopi, Hare Namaiva Kevalam. The most auspicious, the sweetest is Harinam. Just keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So in this way, Krishna is explaining that he has a higher nature and we must take shelter of that higher nature, spiritual nature. It's a happy life, very happy life. In the 6th verse, Krishna says that he is the creator and the destroyer of everything. In the 7th verse of this 7th chapter, Krishna says that he is the maintainer and he is the supreme personality. Matah parataram na anyat. Kinchit asti dhananjaya. Mai sarvamitam protam sutre mani gana eva. Just like a thread holds the necklace in place. Similarly, Krishna is that thread that is holding all of us together. Without Krishna, we cannot survive. He maintains everything. Verses 8, 9, 10, and 11. These 4 verses show how Krishna is all pervasive and how Krishna is the essence of everything. Anything good in this world, it is because of Krishna. He says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. I am the taste of water. Without water, we cannot taste anything. There's a medical condition called Sjogren disease, autoimmune disease, where there are antibodies that attack the cells in the mouth, the salivary glands, and our salivary glands that produce the spit, the saliva, they don't function properly and the mouth becomes dry. Those patients cannot taste anything. Because for our taste buds on the tongue to perceive taste, we need liquidity. That's why as soon as you put food in the mouth, we start producing saliva, because water is required for us to perceive taste in food. So Krishna is saying, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. I am the taste of water. Without water, there is no taste. Prabhasmi shashi suryayo. That I am the light of the sun and the moon. Pranava sarva vedeshu. And I am Om, Pranava, Om in the Vedas. Shabdakhe paurusham nrishu. Shabdakhe, I am the sound in the ether. And paurusham nrishu. I am paurusham nrishu. I am the ability in man. Anyone has any ability. Someone can sing nicely, someone can dance, someone is a very good manager, someone is a very sharp thinker, good at debating, oratory skills, dancing skills, bodybuilding skills, fighting skills, shooting skills, any skill that anyone has. Paurusham nrishu. Krishna says, I am the ability in a human being. I give them that ability. So any ability that impresses us, it is actually coming from Krishna. If some small little person in this world can impress us with their ability and talents, imagine how wonderful Krishna is, who is giving this ability to one and all. The speed of the cheetah, the agility of a tiger, the strength of an elephant, everything is coming from Krishna. Punyo gandha prithivyam cha. I am the fragrance of earth. All the fragrance that mogra has, that lilies have, jasmine flowers have, they are all coming from earth. All these different fragrances Bhudevi is producing. Therefore, when Bhudevi appeared in Dwapar Yuga as Kubja, her profession was to make perfumes. And instead of giving to Kansa, she gave to our beloved Krishna and Balram and attained perfection. So fragrance is there in earth inherently. Even you see when it rains, at least in India, I remember in the monsoons, in the first rain of the monsoon season, there is a fragrance of the earth everywhere. It's so wonderful. Here we don't perceive it so much. I don't know why. Maybe because it rains practically throughout the year, or maybe because there is too much concrete in the city. But I remember growing up in India, the first monsoon rain, such beautiful fragrance would emanate from the earth. Krishna says that Punyo Gandha Prithivyam cha. I am the natural, beautiful fragrance of earth. Why not? Because earth, Bhudevi, is a manifestation of Srimati Radharani. And Radharani is the source of all fragrance. Tat Adi Surabhi Radha Kundam Eva Shrayom. Shri Raghunath Das Goswami says, I take shelter of the Radha Kund where Radharani bathes, and therefore Radha Kund is Ati Surabhi. Very, very fragrant. Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasau. I am the heat in the fire. Imagine if there is no heat in the fire. How will we survive? Especially in the cold places. Impossible. How will we cook food? Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasau. I am the heat in the fire. We all need heat in the fire. We cannot live without it. Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu. And I am the life of all that lives. How wonderful is that? I am the life of all that lives. Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu. Tapas Chasmi Tapasvishu. I am the austerity of all the ascetics. Bijam Mam Sarvabhutana. I am the original seed of all existences. Vidhi Partha Sanatanam. I am the original seed of everything that exists and everything that know, everything that is sentient. Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Tejas Tejasvinam Aham. And I am the prowess of the all-powerful, of all the power that people have. Balam Balavatam Chaham. I am the strength of the strong. Kama Raga Vivarjitam. I am strength that is free from selfish desire and attachment. People have strength, but then they want to use their strength for selfish desires or to impress others. Krishna says, Balam Balavatam Chaham Kama raga vivarjitam. I am not attached. And I don't have any selfish desires. Kama raga vivarjitam. Then dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. The sex desire is so prominent in this world, isn't it? So prominent. Krishna says, actually the sex desire comes from me. The attraction that we experience in this world is coming from Krishna. That calm vasana is coming from Krishna. But dharma aviruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. O Bharatarshava, O best among the descendants of Bharat, O Arjun, I am calm, I am lust. But that lust which is not against the principles of religion. Dharma anukul, which means the coming together of a man and woman to produce Krishna conscious children. That lust Krishna represents. So, dharma aviruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. In this way, Krishna is showing in verse 8, 9, 10, and 11 how he's all pervasive and how he's the essence of everything. Essence of everything. In the 12th verse, Krishna says that he is beyond sattva, rajas, tama. He is beyond the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance. Krishna is beyond them. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. 13 to 19, these verses are very beautiful. They deal with surrender to Lord Krishna. How we can surrender unto Lord Krishna. Krishna says, for example, in the 14th verse, Daivi esha gunamai mama maya durattaya ma mevaya prapadyante mayami tantan. If you want to cross this material existence, which is very difficult to cross, durattaya, ma mevaya prapadyante, just surrender to me, just take my shelter, take my help, Krishna says. Mayami tantaranti. Then you will be able to cross without difficulty. Then Krishna tells in the 15th verse, 4 types of people who don't surrender. Namam dushkritano muda prapadyante naradama maya parita jnana asuram bhavamashita. 4 types of people don't surrender to Krishna. No matter how much you preach, they will not surrender to Krishna. They will not become devotees of Krishna. Who? Mudha, those who are simply atheistic fools. Naradama, those who are lowest among mankind. They perform a lot of sinful activities. If they have too much burden of sins, they cannot become devotee. Maya aparita jnana, those who have many material desires and their intelligence is stolen away by material desires. Their whole occupation, they are preoccupied with fulfilling material desires. They will not surrender to Krishna. And asuram bhavam ashrita. And those who are simply evil. Some people are just evil. Evil. The other day, there was a 22-year-old man who had 154 felonies by the age of 22. Not demeanors, 154 felonies. So these are just pure evil, including homicides, drug charges, so many things. So some people are just pure evil. They are called asuram bhavam ashrita. They are asuric, they are demoniac in nature, antisocial personalities. So they don't surrender to Krishna. These 4 types of people don't surrender to Krishna. This is 15th verse of the 7th chapter. In the 16th verse, Krishna says 4 types of people who do surrender to him. 4 types of people who surrender to Krishna. Who are they? Chaturvida bhajante mam. 4 types of people, they become my devotee. They worship me. They surrender to me. Who are they? Jana sukritano Arjuna. They are very pious people. Who are they? Arto, those who are suffering. Sometimes people get cancer or they get a deadly disease for which there is no cure. And they become very much interested in Krishna consciousness because they're suffering. They want relief. They're suffering. They're distressed. That is the first, most common category of people who take to Krishna consciousness. It includes all of us. In some way or the other, to lesser or greater degree, we are all suffering, my dear friends. Who is not suffering in this world? Who can say I'm completely comfortable? Everything is going my way. No one. So, first category is Arti, those who are in distress. Jidnyasu, some people are just very inquisitive. They have curiosity. What is this yoga? What is this bhakti yoga? What is this Bhagavad Gītā? I'm curious to know. So they come out of curiosity. Third is Artharthi. Artharthi. What do they want? They want Artha. Artha means wealth. So they have lost their money or they are finding it difficult to earn money. They are financially very challenged and they desperately need money. So they take to different pujas, different vrat, different austerities, penances, different chanting of mantras in the hope that I'll be able to get some money, some wealth. So that's the third category. Those who want wealth, they somehow come and turn towards Krishna. And the fourth is Jnani. These are spiritualists. They are simply looking for the absolute truth. They are searching for the absolute truth. They are Jnanis. And Krishna says, all of them are good in the 17th verse, but Krishna says that the Jnani is the best. Jnani is the one who is just on a quest to find Krishna. It's their journey home. They are the best. They are Jnanis. They are not seeking Krishna's shelter because they are in distress, because they want wealth, or because they are just plain curious. No. They have a burning desire to get Krishna, Jnani. They are looking for the absolute truth. Like Tapan Mishra in Chaitanya Bhagavad. That is the 17th verse. Jnani is the best, Krishna says. But then the other three category, Arti, Artharthi, and Jidnyasu will feel depressed. Oh, only Jnani is dear to Krishna. We are not dear to Krishna. Out of the four categories, three will get depressed. So in the 18th verse, Krishna clarifies, said, no. Jnani is the best, but all of them are very good. Udar, all of them are very wonderful. Krishna says, all of them are magnanimous. Udar, they are all good. So Krishna's nature is like, he encourages everybody. Verse number 19, Krishna says, what is pure devotional service and how rare it is. Kevala Bhakti, very rare. Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. So Jnani is the best. Of the four people who surrendered to Krishna, Jnani is the best. But Krishna says, even among Jnanis, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. Many births, after many births, such a Jnani will finally surrender to me. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, understanding that Krishna is all in all. Krishna is everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Finally, he will come to the conclusion. After doing everything, he will come to know that Krishna is the ultimate. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He becomes a Mahatma, and such a Mahatma, such a great spiritual soul is very rare in this world. Rarity of pure bhakti. Then 20 to 25, these 6 verses, they describe demigod worship and impersonalism. How demigod worship is wrong. Krishna says, Kama estaste rita jnana prapadyante anya devata. Demigod worship is not encouraged. He says those who are less intelligent, they worship the demigods. Why? Because when you have direct access to your father, who is the supreme proprietor, why you should go through different employees? Directly go to the owner, founder of the company. He's your father. Just go to Krishna. Krishna says, Pitaham asya jagata. I am the father of everyone. Just come to me. Sarva yonishu konte aham bija prada pita. I am the pita. Just come to me. But those who are less intelligent, they will work hard and they will try to do maska and they will try to please the other employees. Why? Just go to your father. Just go to your father. So that's what Krishna is recommending. 21 and 22, Krishna says that even those who don't want to worship me, they want to worship the demigods, I give them faith. I give them the facility, the inclination to work, because they want to do it. I give them the facility. Krishna is very broad-minded. Okay, you don't want to worship me, you want to worship other gods, go ahead. Like in Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10th canto, we see the story of Maharaj Satrajit. He was a Surya Bhakta. He was worshipper of Surya Dev. And Krishna said, no problem. You keep that Shamantak jewel and continue worshipping Surya Dev. After all, you are a devotee of Surya Dev. You are not my devotee. That's fine. But I will accept your daughter, Satyabhama, because she is my devotee. That is Krishna's broad-mindedness. Krishna gives faith to those who want to worship the demigods. But demigod worship is discouraged because it is an indirect way. Because demigods also do not have the power to give anything by themselves. They depend on Krishna only. Verse number 23, Krishna gives the results of what happens if we worship demigods. What happens? The results are very temporary. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavata alpamedasam. Devan deva yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. The worshippers of demigods will go to the planets of the demigods within the material world. But mad bhakta yanti mamapi. But those who worship me, they will come to the spiritual world, to my spiritual planet, Krishna says. So the destination of those who worship the demigods is different from the destination of those who worship Krishna. We should not think that all paths lead to one. No. Just like from Atlanta Airport, it's the world's busiest airport, Atlanta International Airport. All flights don't go to the same destination. All flights don't lead to the same destination. They go to different places. Similarly, there are many paths and we have to choose our path very carefully. We want to go to the lotus feet of Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna Gatir Mama. Then, after describing the different destinations of worship, demigod worship, in verse 24 to 25, 24 and 25, Krishna talks about impersonalism. Who are Mayavadis? These Mayavadis, they are neither worshipping the demigods nor Krishna, but they worship the impersonal aspect of God. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan iti Shabdate. Krishna appears in three forms. Brahman, the impersonal Brahmajyoti, as Paramatma in our heart, our Chaitya Guru, and his original form when he's playing the flute with Radharani in Golok Vrindavan. That is Bhagwan. So, Lord Krishna says in verse 24 that impersonalists are unintelligent. Krishna says, Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mam abudhaya param bhavam ajananto mamavyayam anuttamam. That these people who are really fools, they think that first I was Brahman and then this Brahman has taken the shape of Krishna. Avyaktam vyaktim apannam. First I was avyakta, I was unmanifest, I was Brahman, and then I have become a vyakti. I have become Krishna Vigraha. No, that is not like that. Krishna Vigraha is Sat Chidananda. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sat Chidananda Vigraha. Krishna's form is eternal. And Brahmano hi Pratishtaham. The Brahma Jyoti is just the effulgence from Krishna's body. So Brahma Jyoti is dependent on Krishna, not vice versa. Therefore, impersonalists who worship just the Brahma Jyoti without paying attention to Krishna, they are, Krishna calls them Alpamedhasam. They are less worship. Those who worship the demigods are Alpamedhasam, and those who worship Brahma Jyoti are Abudhaya. See? Avyaktam vyaktim apannam manyante mam abudhaya. Budhaya means intelligent. Abudhaya means unintelligent. Those who are impersonalists, those who worship the Brahma Jyoti or focus on the Brahma Jyoti exclusively, they are abudhaya. They are less intelligent. In verse 25, Krishna says that I reserve the right who I reveal myself to. Don't think that I reveal myself to everyone. No, I reserve the right. Krishna says, Naham prakasha sarvasya. I am not visible to everybody. Yoga Maya Samavrita. I have covered by my internal potency. Yoga Maya. Mudoyam Nabhijananti. The fools will not understand me. Mudhas means fools. Nabhijananti. They will not understand me. That I am Loko Ma Majamavyayam. That I am unborn. I am infallible. I am the Supreme Lord. They will never understand this. Because they are mudhas. They are fools. Fools don't understand. It takes one to know one. One has to be godly to know God. Therefore, we have to develop divine qualities and give up demoniac qualities. We have to surrender to Krishna. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Yavanas shasmi tattvata. Only a devotee can understand Krishna in tattva, in truth. Verses 26 to 30, they take us from delusion by Maya to devotion to Krishna. It's a transition. So, in 26th verse, Lord Krishna says, Vedaham samatitani. I know everything. I know everyone, past, present, and future. Vartamanani charajuna bhavishyami cha bhutani mam tu vedana kasyan. But me nobody knows. Krishna is inconceivable. Then in verse 27, Krishna says, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. That all the living entities are born into delusion, sammoham, at the time of creation. And then they are bewildered, they are confused by the dualities, dvandva mohena. And then they have ichha, they have desire. I want this, and dvesh, I hate this. I like this, I hate this. Friend, enemy, good, bad. With these dualities, they are completely occupied and confused. So, is there any way one can get over these dualities of life? Yes. Verse number 28, Krishna says that Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva. Dvandva means duality. Dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhata. We have to give up our sins, our sinful activities, our sinful tendencies. We have to give them up. The mind will say, do this, do that. But we have to just be sincere. If we are sincere, Krishna will help us. If we are sincere, Krishna will help us. My Guru Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, recently we were with him in Washington, and my son Gopal, he asked Guru Maharaj that I am a young boy, 18-year-old, and there are so many temptations. Krishna consciousness seems to be so hard to follow. Nobody is following Krishna consciousness in the college around me. So difficult. So what to do? So Maharaj, with so much compassion, he said, just be sincere and Krishna will help you. We simply have to be sincere. We simply have to try sincerely. And Krishna will give all help. Krishna will give all help. That's what Krishna is saying here. That we have to give up our sinful activities. Don't give in to the temptations. Don't give in to the temptations and the desires of the mind. However compelling it is, just take association of devotees, take shelter of devotees, run to the devotees. Hear Harikatha on YouTube or ISKCON Desire Tree. Somehow, when those temptations come, occupy your mind with something positive. Start chanting. Go in front of the deities. Stand in front of the deities. Run into the association of devotees. Do something. But don't give in. If we don't give in, then Krishna will give us more strength next time. Again, we don't give in to temptations. Krishna will make us more, he will give us more bhakti shakti, more strength. And in this way, the devotee becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. But if we give in, then we lose the empowerment. Krishna is displeased. Then Krishna says, okay, that's what you want, then I will withdraw. Then Krishna withdraws away from us. Then it becomes very difficult. Then we are by ourselves. But if we tell Krishna, Krishna, my mind is filled with lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, false ego. Please, please help me. I cannot fight these anarthas. Please help me. I cannot do it. You help me, please. Then Krishna will take it upon himself. Like Draupadi Devi said, I cannot do it, Krishna, you save me. Then Krishna took it upon himself. Because then Krishna's reputation is at stake. You see Krishna. Pratigya tava govinda name bhakta pranashyati iti samsmrita samsmritya pranam dharyam. Draupadi Devi said that, oh Govinda, it is a pratigya, it is a promise. Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will not perish. And here Dushasan is trying to disrobe me. I'm remembering your promise that your devotee will not perish. Iti samsmrita samsmritya pranam sandharyamaham. I am holding on to my pran. I am not holding on to my sari. Pranam dharyam. I am holding on to my pran. I am not giving up my body. I am not giving up my pran. Why? Because then the whole world will criticize you, Krishna, that you failed to protect. Achyut failed. Achyut means one who never fails. Achyut failed to protect his devotee. The whole world will criticize. I cannot bear to see the world criticizing you. Therefore, I will not die. Actually, when Dushasan touched Draupadi, she wanted to give up her life. She was so pure, so chaste. She said, I will not give up my life. Because Krishna, you have to save me. Otherwise, the world will not have faith in your words. Name bhakta pranashyati. Please save me. For your reputation's sake. This body belongs to you. Please protect this body. It is your body. It's not mine. That is Sharanagati. And Krishna came. So we have to call out to Krishna. Krishna, please help me. We have to be sincere. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmana. And we have to do punya karma. We have to chant Hare Krishna. We have to associate with devotees, serve devotees, read, hear Harikatha. If we do that, dvandva moha nirmukta. We will become free from all these dualities and confusion and bewilderment. And we will get clear intelligence. And when we have clear intelligence, bhajante mam drida vrata. Then with steadiness, with determination, we can practice Krishna consciousness. In verse 29, Krishna says, Jara marana mokshaya. Those who want freedom from old age and those who want liberation, mam ashritya. They should take shelter of me. And finally, in verse 30, last verse, Krishna says, those who know me as the Adhibhut, as the governing principle, the supreme principle in this world, and Adhidaiva, the controller of all the devatas, and Adhiyajna, the Lord of all sacrifices, and they are in full consciousness of me, someone who is always trying to think of me, Krishna says, then Prayana Kale, at the time of death, they can remember me and they attain me. They attain me, Krishna says. So now when Krishna talks about attaining him, Arjuna is going to ask the next question. How to attain Krishna? He asks further topics and Krishna will elaborate on how to attain Krishna. And that is chapter number 8, which if Krishna desires, we will do next Saturday. So here I will stop. Śrīmad Bhagavad Gītā ji ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Arjun ji ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions, you can please raise your hand. Hare Krishna. Yes, Divya Mataji, please go ahead.
You spoke about the demigod worship, and there are people who also worship the self-proclaimed gurus. I have a friend who greets me sometimes and says Sai Ram. So what's the proper Vaishnava etiquette? And that is one question. And the second question I wanted to ask, you spoke about how we associate with devotees who are equal, who are superior, and who are inferior. So if we see devotees who are young in age, but more advanced, should we consider them as our superiors? I mean, should we take age into account, or how advanced they are?
Yes, very nice question, Divya Mataji. So first question, the person who is a devotee of a certain Baba greets Sai Ram. So we can greet in our way. They are greeting in their way, so we should smile and say Hare Krishna. So they are greeting in their way, we are greeting in our way. So we can still be cordial, we can still be respectful. At the same time, we don't leave our path. We say Hare Krishna. So that is fun. Second question, superiority and advancement in Krishna consciousness is based on one's love for Krishna, one's attachment to Krishna, and one's service to Guru and Krishna. That's how we judge who is superior and who is inferior. One who is more Krishna conscious, one who is more intensely devoted to Krishna is our spiritual superior. Age is not so important in devotee circles. When Śrīmad Bhagavatam had to be spoken, the king of the world, Maharaj Parikshit, heard it from Sri Shukdev Goswami. And all the assembled sages agreed that Srila Shukdev Goswami should be the speaker of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. He was the youngest in the assembly. He was only 16 years old. And there was Vishwamitra Muni, Vasishtha Muni, Bhagwan Vyasadev, Shripad Narad Muni, Angira Muni, all these great rishis who are thousands and thousands of years old were present there. But the speaker was chosen who was most advanced, because Shukdev Goswami is a parrot of Srimati Radharani. So he understands. Aham vetti, Shuko vetti, Vyaso vetti na vetti va. Bhaktya Bhagavatam grahayam na budhaya na chatikaya. Shukdev Goswami knows Śrīmad Bhagavatam perfectly. Therefore, he was chosen to speak Śrīmad Bhagavatam, even though he was youngest. So the Brahmanas offer respect to each other based on who has more knowledge. Are you a Dvivedi or a Trivedi or a Chaturvedi? Who are you? Accordingly, they give respect, Brahmanas, based on knowledge of the Vedas. Kshatriyas give respect according to how many Akshahuni Sena you have. 1 Akshahuni, 5 Akshahuni, 10 Akshahuni, how many soldiers you have, how much military power you have, how much physical strength you have. Based on that, they give respect. How big a kingdom you have. Based on that, they give respect. Vaishyas give respect based on how much money you have. Are you a Lakpati or a Karodpati or a Arabpati, millionaire or a billionaire or a trillionaire? They will give respect accordingly. Shudras give respect based on age. Simply based on age. And a Vaishnava gives respect on all these categories, on the basis of knowledge, on the basis of strength, on the basis of wealth, and on the basis of age. Because Vaishnavera gunagarahi na dekhaye dosh, kayamana vakya kare Vaishnava santosh. A devotee is amanina manadena. A devotee is manadena. He gives respect to everyone. So devotee respects on all these 4 categories, but most importantly, a devotee offers all love, respect, and service on the basis of the advancement in Krishna consciousness. Jai Krishna bhaje, sei hai bada. Who is big? One who is engaged in the service of Krishna, one who has devotion to Krishna. So a devotee understands who is advanced based on advancement in Krishna consciousness. That is the most essential underlying factor for offering respect. Others are secondary. Primary is who is really advanced. Amarendra Prabhu, he is only 30 years old. But I don't know how many lifetimes it will take for me to get even a fraction of bhakti that he has. So when he speaks, I respectfully sit and hear, because he is my superior. He's completely absorbed. I am absorbed in material consciousness, but he's always talking about Radha and Krishna, always talking about Prabhupada. I learn so much from him. Whatever I hear from him, I repeat that. So like that, one may be young, but if one is advanced in Krishna consciousness, then we should hear. And you know what the reason is, Divya Mataji, for this? Because we are seeing their advancement only in this life. Oh, in this life, Amarendra Prabhu is 30 years old. I am 42 years old. No, but although he's only 30 years old in this body, but in the previous life, do you know who he was? He must have done so much bhajan to have so many abilities to him. Such love for Rupa Goswami, such love for Raghunath Das Goswami, such love for Gauranga Mahaprabhu he has. Genuinely, I know it. So this doesn't come in one life. This is because of Purva Janma Samskar, because of impressions that are carried over lifetimes. So this lifetime, he may be just 30 years old, but that doesn't mean he has done bhajan for 30 years only. He has done bhajan for more than 30 lifetimes. And now he has reached this very exalted status that he is able to inspire so many others. So like that, age is not so important. Is that okay, Divya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. One more thing I wanted to ask. I heard this morning about Lord Ramchandra having a green color complexion. But when you read Ramcharitamanas or Ramayan, it doesn't talk about... Yeah, Ghansham.
It's Ghansham, yes. So this is Lord Ram, but Lord Ramchandra didn't appear just once. Lord Ramchandra appears many times, again and again. Every day of Brahma, every Kalpa, Lord Ramchandra incarnates. In every day of Brahma, every Kalpa. And therefore, Lord Ramchandra has appeared thousands of times. And in some incarnations, he appears in green complexion. Like that. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shama Kumari Mataji? Last question.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji. I'm just, we are just on the one call. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the very nice class. Just, Prabhuji, you mentioned about, devotee care, and we know that how important it is, devotee care and all. And, but sometimes, we notice that, yes, like devotees sometimes are, just wanting to, they're only concerned with their own advancement in Krishna consciousness. But when they see some injustice or some rude behavior happening, like right in front of, them, then they tend to like sideways, because they don't want to get into it, because either they don't have any knowledge of it, because whether they will be a part of that Vaishnava Prath. So how to understand that, and how, to be aware that it is really important that when we see some injustice, that is happening, not that in a fighting mood, at least we can, like we should actually stand, like support that devotee, who should not, and pacify, basically, I think is the right word, so that the devotee doesn't feel, like morose, or, they don't leave bhakti. So how can we, like, how to understand that, Prabhuji, and how do we, like, what tips can you give us that, really help us to do more devotee care, basically?
Hare Krishna. When Srila Jagadananda Pandit, he was staying with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, and Srila Sanatan Goswami came to visit. Srila Sanatan Goswami got a skin disease, unfortunately, and his whole body was covered with ulcers that were itching, very painful, blood, pus would come out. And he was feeling very bad that every day Mahaprabhu embraced him. All that blood and pus would come on Mahaprabhu's Shri Anga. So Sanatan Goswami confidentially, Guhyam Akhyati Prachati, confidentially asked Jagadananda Pandit. They were friends. My dear Jagadananda Pandit, what should I do? I came to Jagannath Puri to serve Mahaprabhu, to take darshan of Mahaprabhu, take darshan of Jagannath. I cannot take darshan of Jagannath because I belong to a low caste. And I cannot serve Mahaprabhu because my body is covered with all these ulcers. I cannot do any seva for him. I'm contaminated. On top of that, I am contaminating the transcendental body of Mahaprabhu because he forcefully embraces me. This gives me very much pain in my heart. What should I do? Jagadananda Pandit advised him that Mahaprabhu has given you a mission in Vrindavan to write books, to build temples, to excavate the lost holy places. So why don't you go to Vrindavan? That is Guru Pradatta Sthan, Guru Pradatta Seva. Go to the holy abode of Vrindavan and do your service to Mahaprabhu. Why don't you go to Vrindavan? Srila Jagadananda Pandit gave this advice. Mahaprabhu, Sanatan Goswami accepted this advice as very good advice. And he told Mahaprabhu next day that I am going now to Vrindavan Dham. So Mahaprabhu said, why are you going? Who told you to go? So Sanatan Goswami said, it is my decision to go, but it is not an independent decision. I have consulted with Srila Jagadananda Pandit and he has also given his permission. Mahaprabhu got angry at Jagadananda Pandit. Kali kale batua jagga aise garvi haila, toma samaj jana iha upadesh karila. This Kali kale batua jagga, this kal ka bacha, batua means bacha. Kal ka bacha, and he doesn't call him Jagadananda, he says jagga. This yesterday's bacha jagga, aise garvi haila, he has become so proud. Toma samaj jana iha upadesh karila, he is advising a superior person like you. Even I take your advice, Sanatan Goswami, and this Jagga, Jagadananda Pandit, is giving you advice what to do. He has such audacity. Mahaprabhu got very angry at Jagadananda Pandit, chastised Jagadananda Pandit in front of everybody. So Jagadananda Pandit, naturally, he must have felt some sorrow in his heart that Mahaprabhu got angry at me. So immediately, when Sanatan Goswami saw this, he did not tolerate. He took on Mahaprabhu. Sanatan Goswami took up for Jagadananda Pandit and took on Mahaprabhu. Sanatan Goswami told Mahaprabhu, Apanera asaubhagya aja hoilo gyan, jage nahi Jagadananda samabhagyavan. Sanatan Goswami said, now Sanatan Goswami is being glorified by Mahaprabhu that you are superior. Jagadananda is inferior. He should not advise you. Mahaprabhu is Sanatan Goswami is telling Mahaprabhu, Apanera asaubhagya aja hoilo gyan. Today I have come to know about my asaubhagya. Mahaprabhu is saying, what? I just glorified you. You are asaubhagya. Sanatan Goswami. Apanera asaubhagya aja hoilo gyan, jage nahi Jagadananda samabhagyavan. In this whole world, there is no one as fortunate as Jagadananda Pandit. Mahaprabhu says, why? I chastised him, I got angry at him, and I glorified you. Why you are unfortunate and why he is fortunate? Sanatan Goswami says, Jagadanandera pyabao tumhi atami aras ama pebao gaurav stuti nimba nishindaras. Jagadanande pyabao tumhi atmiyataras. His name is Jagadananda, but you are calling him Jagga. So you are making Jagadananda Pandit drink Atmiyata Ras. You consider him very close. That's why instead of calling Jagadananda, you are calling him Jagga. Look at the vision of Sanatan Goswami. Jagadanande pyabao tumi Atmiyata Ras. Ama pyabao garva stuti nimba nishindaras. But what are you giving me to drink? Gaurav stuti. Glorification. Which is like Nimba Nishinda Ras. It is like the bitter juice of a neem tree. But you are giving him Atmiyata Ras, the nectar of Atmiyata, Apnapan. और मुझे दूर कर रहे हो गौरव स्तुति देके, रिस्पेक्ट आदर देके, आदर सम्मान देके मुझे दूर कर रहे हो, जगादानंद पंडित को फटकार के अपने निकट ले रहे हो, आत्मीयता रस पिला रहे, क्योंकि जिसे हम अपना समझते हैं उन्हीं को डांटते हैं ना. If someone on the road is doing something wrong, we will not go and correct and chastise, hey, what are you doing? But if our child does something wrong, hey, Gopal, stop eating your fingers. He's sitting there eating his fingers right now. Eating his, hey, Gopal, don't do that. Why? Atmiyata ras. Somebody on the street is eating fingers, I will not say anything. So Sanatan Goswami is saying, Jagadananda Pandit, you call him Jagga, you chastised him, Atmiyata ras. So like that. And then when later on Sanatan Goswami was living in Vrindavan, and Jagadananda Pandit also wanted to visit Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu told him, go and stay only with Sanatan Goswami. You see? So because Jagadananda Pandit was chastised because of Sanatana Goswami in front of all the devotees, it's not that their relationship got spoiled. No, very thick friendship relationship. Mahaprabhu is saying, you go to Vrindavan, but stay with Jagadananda. Jagadananda Pandit, stay with Sanatana Goswami. And they were staying together, they were eating together. So like that, when a devotee faces some reversal or some injustice or some humiliation, somehow in the course of one's Krishna consciousness, we should take up, we should protect, we should encourage devotees. We should not discourage devotees. If somebody is not doing that, it is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But again, Vaishnavera gunagrahi na dekhai dosh. We should not see faults in others. We should be adoshadarshi as far as possible. So we should, such incidents should remind us that I should be sensitive and I should always take up for devotees so that they feel encouraged and protected instead of discouraged. So it's a lesson for us. It may not be our position to go and correct everyone. Otherwise, we'll simply become fault finders. So what others are doing, that is between them and Guru and Krishna. But we should learn lessons. Whatever we see around us, we should definitely learn lessons and move on and improve ourselves. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much.